All right, Chris, we did touch on it earlier, but I mean, the more I speak to you, the more it becomes apparent that you're someone who continuously strives to sort of move forward and learn more. Is that always been something in your makeup, that, or do you need to push yourself? I mean,
Um, I think, so what I was just saying earlier about if a betting system stops working, if you get too complacent, you start losing money on it. I think there are times when a system is going really well, or anything in life is going really well, people get, you get complacent, you sort of stop, you relax, and it's normally at those times it then bites back at you. So I think you do have to, in life, I've always tried to keep going, keep pressing on, keep doing new things, because I'm aware that, yeah, everything can, especially with gambling, everything can fall apart pretty quick.
now obviously it's never happened, but you never worry about waking up one morning and see that your bot's gone rogue and you've done your absolute cobblers. Is there a
Um,
safety system sort of built in?
yeah, that's never happened. I mean, it could happen, especially when I used to leave a lot of money in the account. But no, fortunately, it didn't ever happen.
Okay, now, and reiterating what we just said about you always striving to move forward, then you decided to go back to uni again when you were would have been a mature student, quite mature by uni standards,
Yeah.
and you studied for a master's in intelligent systems. I'm assuming this was specifically to push forward with your betting. Is that a good assumption or not?
Um, it was in part to do with that. Also, I got to the point with the gambling that I kind of wanted to do something else. So I was interested in things like natural language, converting data to text. So all those kind of things was the reason why I decided to go back to uni. It wasn't just to do improved gambling systems, although that did come off the back of it. It wasn't the sole reason.
Now, I never went to university, so converting data into text. Can you sort of go into a bit more into that? 'Cause I don't understand what that
Um,
would be, or how helpful it would be. What?
so if you imagine you have a sort of bit of data, like if we think football, this player has scored 5 goals in his last 6 matches, or a team has sort of won 2 of the last 6. There's many ways that could be written into a story. So if you've got a huge data set, what we've done is develop software that can turn a huge data set into an actual story, so a description of the data, and it can write it in thousands of different ways. So yeah, that's kind of what the data detect is. At the moment, we're doing things like live cricket commentary. So you'd have the feed of like what's happening in a delivery. It can convert that into writing a description of it, rather than just this batsman hit the fielder cover, the 4 runs or whatever it was. We can actually describe that in natural language.
Okay, now you mentioned that you've moved into sports betting, including football as well as horse racing. Now, I think most people assume that there's no juice in the football markets because the already well-known football syndicates have taken it all or ahead of the game. Obviously not.
Um, so yeah, towards the end of COVID, I started looking at the football markets, because obviously I'd had most of my accounts closed before 2000, but by the time it got to 2020, you could bet again, you could activate them. I've noticed I could open accounts, so I thought, right, I'm going to have a crack at just seeing what you can make out of the recreational bookmakers. And at that point, I got several million football matches. So it wasn't what you're saying about the syndicates betting on Premier League and all the top games. I was betting on every football match on the planet. So whether it's like low league games in Czech Republic or USA, so everywhere basically, all the English games. And what I found was if you develop a system for those markets, there's wrong prices everywhere. Because for the bookies to price everything up, I mean, I don't know how they do it, but there's just ricks all over the place. So what I discovered is if you have like a list of 1,000 bets that you want to do on a Saturday, and you put those into different ACCAs, the bookies let you bet for more than you would expect. So that was something that I tried, and yeah, it did work. It was an interesting experiment because everyone said, you know, you could only make very small amount of money if you beat the price on a horse or whatever. Your account's cold straight away nowadays. So I thought it was interesting that betting on football, betting on the things where the bookmakers have their strength, which is, you know, what they're trying to sell is the accumulators, that you can actually still make money off them.
I mean, I'm assuming that to crunch all that data, I mean, every football match in the world, you must have had a computer as big as this shed behind us. I mean, is it, you know, you obviously don't put all the data in yourself. Is there somewhere where you farm it from?
Yeah, so get it from the websites and things, collect it all. But in terms of computers nowadays, you can put millions of matches, or even all of racing since the 80s, into memory on a computer now, and do analysis on it. The amount of data in sport and racing is not huge, and it can be processed pretty quick.
Is the analysis of sports data more black and white than horse racing?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you don't have to go too much into lateral thinking, and
Yeah, it's a lot easier and a lot more reliable.
now you've been very modest. In fact, you said you thought it was a bit vulgar talking about money, but to put things in perspective for people watching this, from the soft bookies that you reopened your accounts with, you managed to win 100 grand betting on football before you got closed down.
Yeah,
I mean,
across.
that's an astonishing amount of money to actually win on football, let alone be let to win on football.
Yeah, so that's across 10 or 12 accounts that I was able to use.
Do you think they sort of gave you more rope in the obviously misguided belief that nobody betting like you were betting could show a profit? You know, was it under the radar because you weren't pinpointing one match in the Vauxhall conference to have a
Possibly, yeah. It was literally dozens and dozens. On a Saturday, I'd go onto an account and there would be, like I'd do like 50 different ACCAs.
Yeah, so you permutate all the possibilities, so you didn't miss out if a few landed. So what sort of how many matches would you need? You know, what sort of ACCAs? Trebles, five timers?
Up to 5-time ACCAs, but I'd do things like Yankees, and so you'd get the singles, doubles, and obviously if you have a margin in your favour, what happens with ACCAs is that margin then gets multiplied in your favour. So you know, if it's say 2% for one horse, or one football match, then it's like over 8 if all 4 come in your favour. So it accumulates, and obviously the other way, the bookies have the margin. For most people, if you're losing, that's why they make so much money out of it. So it's almost you're using what the bookies think is their strength against them, to the point where they were giving me free bets and all sorts, obviously thinking I was just a recreational gambler, I'd say.
So all this would have been in your own name, I assume.
That was all, yeah, in my own name.
And looking at it now, I mean, obviously those accounts have been closed, and you're quite prolific on at least Twitter. If you were still allowed to bet, would you still be chopping it off like that, or have things moved away from that as well? Is that a system that, you know, what you were doing then wouldn't work now?
That would absolutely work. I mean, I've told or shown other people how to use it, and they've all made not as much, but so I think you have to have some sort of betting nous as well, rather than just betting, to think around, you know, what ACCAs am I going to place and what I'm going to do with this account. But just having the list of bets, other people have managed to make pretty decent money using the same list of, the same system. So absolutely, yeah, still works.
Would what you do sort of work on sort of Asian handicaps and things like that? Would you up step to that sort of big boy market and take on the world? Could you do that with what you do?
The trouble is accessing, isn't it? So since 2014, we haven't been allowed to officially bet with overseas bookmakers, and obviously there are ways people do it, but it hasn't appealed to me to get involved in that.
Okay, now you've been sharing your knowledge with various websites. Is that because it's becoming possible to monetize your edge gambling?
Certainly on the soft books, obviously that's done from that one thing on the football, and Betfair obviously is in big decline, which is the main outlet for horse racing gamblers that can't get on anywhere else. So I think there is a sort of time. You know, we were in a golden age in the 2000 to 2008, possibly 2012. Now I think it's much more difficult. So I'm happy to share my knowledge, give that information to other people now.
Now, you've been sort of one of the earliest people on with AI, by the sound of it. Is that something that could be used to bet professionally on the horses, or is there too much human intuition required?
Well, I think yes. I mean, I have used that to do the trading. Yes, you could use it on the horses. I think there's always room for people doing lots of different things. So, like when I did the paddock, that was a huge edge that obviously AI couldn't do that. You've got to be in the paddock looking at the horses. People do speed, pace ratings, all that sort of thing. So there's a huge variety of different things people can do. I think that's the beauty of gambling. There's many ways that you can win on it.
Now, we've talked about the ideas that you've had that have worked. How many dead ends have you come across while you've been looking for these edges?
Lots, I'd say. So lots of things you think would be profitable are not. So you end up sort of using those as to lay bets. But some things you think will make a difference, find an efficiency in the market, and it's already priced in. So it's.
And is there like a plan B for you? You're obviously a very intelligent, capable person. You sort of coming to the end of being able to win, not because of your skill, but because of the restrictions. Have you got, if you sort of looked into trading financial markets, that sort of thing? Could you, if you needed to?
That doesn't really interest me. So I think that the AI stuff with the data to text business, that's something I'm in now, and also doing websites, betting websites. So yeah, I've got other things on, and also I am starting to look at Betfair now. Has been in decline. I think we're at sort of the levels we're in 2002, which was actually quite a good time to bet, because I think there's quite a lot of inefficiencies in the market right now. So I think I might have another look back at that and see if I can get back involved in the next few months as well.
Okay, now you didn't want to make this an advertorial, but you can tell us about sharpbetting.co.uk.
Yeah, so me and my business partner, we set up a site a few months ago called Sharp Betting, which has horse racing on at the moment, and we're also going to put that football betting system we were talking about. We'll have that on there in the next few months.
So that's the golden goose is for sale then.
Yeah, there'll be sort of free tips, and possibly if you want the whole thing, you pay something for it. Yeah.
And is there a total plan B that you've got in case you get fed up with all the gambling and all the rest of it? Is there a?
No, I just go. I mean, I've always been the view that I find something to do. So no, I'm not. There's no fixed plan B. No.
Okay, well, Chris Fawcett, thank you very much.
Thank you.